line is actually showing an increase of 70,000, but if you look at the bottom of the page, last year at this time they had a $15,000 deficit, and this year there's a $105,000 surplus. So the actual transfer this year has only been 188,000, not the 293, which is down about 50,000 over the same time period last year. So, any questions? Page 17 is Municipal Transit Fund. Revenues are up about 600,000, 300 of which is federal transit funds, and the rest is in transfer from the utility fund. Expenses are up about 115,000. So net, the transfer from the general fund is down about 230,000 over the same time period last year.
Okay.
Any questions? Page 18 is just a recap of overtime expenditures year to date compared with our original budget, and it includes our adjustments we made for year-to-date numbers at major budget amendment. Any questions? Anything else?
All right. Any questions, Mr. Crutchfield?
Do we, in our budget on percentage, do we percentage, it's like 2%, 3%, higher?
What's that?
We used to do it a long time ago, back at the budget. I'm just saying like 7%. Brian used to do like 3%, we fall, or if revenues fall, we fall back in line with our budget.
We do budget conservatively for revenues because we're, for the most part, sales tax funded, and so I try to budget conservatively to, in case there's a decline in sales, with the increase in gas prices, which we don't receive sales tax on gas, on fuel purchases. If people are spending disposable income on that, they're not spending it on sales taxable items. So I try to budget for that, and usually try to get some insight from the sales tax office and some trend information that we have collected over the years. But that, Mr. Smith, on page 2, where I mentioned that we had collected more than our budgeted amount, that's the reason that we try to budget conservatively, because it's not really predictable. So we do have some cushion in case sales tax collections come in a little bit lower. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, we used to do it in case of revenue tax.
And we base it on a trend of collections, and at major budget amendment, if you go back and look over time, the amount of total collections that we've collected, like whatever our total is for the year, what we've collected at the time that we do the major budget amendment is usually, it's very close what percentage that is at that time compared to the whole year. That probably wasn't very clear, but we can tell at that point that we can usually tell at that point, unless a major economic event happens, where we're going to end up for the rest of the year, and we adjust to that number at that time.
One more question.
Go ahead.
Is that, Mayor Paul talking about redoing the tax base, how devastating would that be?
Well, there was a proposal in the town talk that I'm sure everyone saw and read that showed, I don't know whose proposal that was. It was not ours, no.
I don't think so.
That showed a reallocation of that sales tax that was passed in 1967. And it showed a $4 million decrease in the funding that the city of Alexandria would receive out of that parish-wide sales tax. So, our general fund budget is 56 million a year. If you take 4 million out of that, it's a pretty big hit.
Yeah, just look at the last 4 items that'll impact that. When you talk about transportation, golf course, zoo,
8%.
all kind of ancillary
Right.
things, employment.
If you go back, well, I don't think it's detailed in here, but if you look at our annual budget document, it shows what percentage of our budget for the general fund goes to salaries like police, fire, public works, and various other city departments. And it's a large percentage. We don't have a lot of variable expenses, things that we can control without sending people home. So, and if you hold all those things constant, the amount of things you have that you can just cut out are not that many that you can just arbitrarily cut out that don't affect sending people home or layoffs. And I'm not saying, I'm just letting you know that a lot of our budget, I think it's close to 70%. I don't have those numbers in front of me, go to salaries and benefits. And so an 8%, if that leaves 30%, and you take 8% that has to come out of those variable additional things, that's a huge percentage, or 4 million, 8% out of those, that 30% is a big percent, a big piece of it.
So, Mr. Crutchfield, you're saying if we have a $4 million loss, that'll be a tremendous area where we have to make a lot of cuts.
I think it would. We'd obviously have to cut 8%
$4
of
million.
our budget.
Will you finish, Mr. Smith?
You know,
I mean, we can share it.
I'm just getting straight to the point. I'm just getting straight to the point. I'm just going straight to the point. I'm going straight to the point without beating around the bush, that the city of Alexandria, for the people to know, will have to make a tremendous amount of cuts with that loss.
Absolutely.
It'd be just like you taking $4,000 out of everybody's cut in their pay. And they used to live in, you set the budget at one, you've been like that for years.
Well,
People need to know that.
I think people take for granted too the things we do. Everything from animal shelter to golf courses. That Alexandria does think globally, and we certainly think regionally. With our zoo, as Mr. Fowler just alluded to, and all kind of services that we provide. You just heard where our bus services is guaranteed to be in the deficit mode. And we do that because it's a service that we provide not only to residents of the city. So there are numerous ways that we can articulate how devastating this would be. And hopefully we won't have to do that.
And there are a lot of services that we provide that affect more people than just the people that live in the city of Alexandria. I agree with that.
Okay, anything else? I think we have...
I do have one item. Mr. Chairman, this is an ordinance, introduction of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a solid waste disposal contract with ISI Incorporated.
Okay.
Send it to legal.
We have a motion to bring it... Who's second? Okay. I got to move it, okay.
Thank you.
Send it to legal. Legal entertainment. Okay, anything else? Finance Committee
Can
adjourned.
I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Pertinent to agenda item, huh?
Not too long ago, we voted on to renew a sales and use tax. I think it was 1%.
Can you come to the podium, please, sir?
And give your name and
Give your name and...
Yeah, who are you?
Probably won't.
Where you live? Good.
Not too long ago, we voted to renew a sales and use tax, 1%. It had a expiration date of, an expiration at 10 years. And the renewal, does it also have an expiration date of 10 years?
No.
Well, how could we vote for a renewal of a tax that had an expiration date of 10 years and not have an expiration date on what we voted for?
You assume it's renewal. Ms. Crutchfield, why don't you come explain what the tax actually was on that? Go ahead, Mr. Crutchfield.
Oh, I'm obviously not an attorney, but the wording on that proposition was such. I don't think it was called a renewal, but I think maybe a continuation and rededication or something along those lines. I don't have that in front of me. But our attorneys crafted that document specifically for the purposes and for the way that it was to be instituted in perpetuity. That was clearly in the wording of the document throughout, even in I think the title and in the body of the document. So I'm not sure what the question is.
I think it meant, whether it met the legal requirements, and I think it did because it was explained.
I'm not an attorney, can't speak to that.
Well,
However,
it went through all, I know the bonding attorneys, it went through Secretary of
Absolutely,
State,
yes.
it went through our council, it certainly went through the parameters. That's one of the things that we have to go into it, and we also want to make sure that the language was concise on the ballot, and based on what I understand, it's certain. Did that answer Mr. Wolf your question?
the proposition says city sales tax continuation and rededication. It does not say renewal. So, that is the specific reason that it did not say renewal, is because there were some changes. But it is a continuation.
It was now in perpetuity.
Yes, sir. And it's stated that way in the call.
Anything else needs to come before the Finance Committee? Not, meeting's adjourned.